Hi Anthony, lovely to meet you yesterday and do some work on your game. Hopefully you found it a productive trip up. The session in my mind went very well. Your progress throughout was very, very good, and you seem to be clear on the understanding of the pieces that you needed to work on. We did throw quite a lot at you. Obviously it's not going to be a regular occurrence, me and you getting together to work on your swing, but as promised, here's a quick recap. I'm going to run you two recaps. I've got one from down the line and one from face on. So if you have a little look at down the line first of all, first thing we notice in your swing during the early part of the swing is that from P1 to P2, the club sort of rolls behind you, but also rotates open. So if we take a little line and put that up from the shaft for hand playing, we're going to see that in the very early part of your swing here now, your club face is opening up a little bit too much to the arc of your swing. Shoulders working in and down nicely, but you know, again, that could be a little bit more tending to flatten out. It's typical of someone who rolls the club behind them that the left shoulder stays a little bit too high. So the first thing we've suggested is that we close that off early. If we watch your swing as it progresses, from the top of the backswing you get a little bit cut at the top, as you said yourself, and then really it just sort of stays cut. There are other reasons for that, as we'll come to towards the end of your recap from down the line. Still cut at that point, very much underplaying, very much open. So we've got two options really. We can try and, if you will, get rid of this cut left wrist here for a flatter left wrist whilst the club's moving at 70-80 miles an hour during the downswing, or we can try and put it in early in the swing as we discussed. Now, one of the things we've done here is we've described the takeaway where we try and get the club to work, the butt of the club to work down, so there's the same line before, and the knuckles to work under. So you're thinking in terms of butt of the club down, knuckles working under, and you can see as you do that, at that stage of your swing now, the club face is much squarer to your arc. I get the club out of the way, you're going to see that the back of the left wrist has been flattened off, so we've got more palmar flex coming into the swing a lot earlier. From there, it's just a case of maintaining that now throughout the backswing. See, they're a little bit flatter with the left wrist at that point. Left shoulders work down a little bit more at that point also. So improvement in the overall action at that point. So what I'm prescribing is that you try and put that flatter left wrist in from P1 to P2 rather than trying to get it in there gradually throughout your backswing. In regards to the downswing when viewed from down the line, one of the things we noticed was that the right knee was kicking out a little bit too much. As soon as the right knee kicks out, the upper centre drops back and the swing bends to the left. So we get very much a swipe across it. And in the finish, you can see there a lot of daylight between the knees. That's a sign that the player has stopped moving forward. And remember what we discussed, the hips moving forward is not purely hip slide. It's a combination of sliding the hips initially and then tucking the butt on the way through as the legs straighten, raising the belt, allowing the hips to continue to move forward. So we look at you from down the line here now to help with that piece. The takeaway wasn't the greatest in this one, but we're working on something else at this stage. We've got the right leg completely straight at setup, and we're going to try and keep it straight throughout the downswing. And you can see there now we're hitting out at the ball for longer. Hips are moving in a more linear manner. Much less daylight between the knees. So there's a sign that we've rotated less. You can see there by the amount of the belt that we can see, as opposed to this one. So just a drill there to help you with that forward movement from the top of the backswing to P8. Right knee not flexing forward as much. player hitting out at the ball longer, less rotation at that point, a little bit more linear. We did also work on the linear movement from P4 to P7, which we'll come to when we look at your other recap. But based on what we're seeing here, we've got to try and reduce the amount of rotation you have in the club face in the early part of your golf swing. Try and get that left wrist flatter earlier, and then maintain it throughout the golf swing. Much better takeaway position at that point. A little bit of movement in with the hip, and that's looking good to go, as opposed to what we're seeing here, where the club's rolled in and the toe end of the club has rolled open. Good luck with that bit, and I look forward to seeing you again in the coming months, and hopefully we can do some more work in the coming year. Well done.